Hi, I'm Jeremy, and today I wanted to talk about creating a noble house. I've made I think 2 videos about this. I want to do this because I see a lot of things in my life and society where it doesn't make any sense. My childhood was trash. I don't want to dive into that too much. I've dealt with it. I mean, to say that you've dealt with something is kind of ridiculous. It's always there, and there's nothing that you can do to get rid of it. But you can deal with it definitely enough that you can move on and start building yourself up from a better place than what you were before. Something along those lines. And then I see this crap today about the attack on the nuclear family, especially from the left. All this nonsense of, well, no women need to have a man in their life, and children don't need fathers, and all this stuff. And it's like, the hell they do. I've not come across anything that says otherwise. I'm going to fight against it, and it's not going to be fighting against the left, because I don't care. I care about myself. I can waste my time fighting them, and it will lead to nothing. Another way of putting it is that whenever I'm dating a girl, I don't ever care if somebody fools around with her. I'm not in a relationship with that person. I care about who she's fooling around with, and I will hold her accountable. And she can take a hike. She can go walk out the door. That's one of the big things about dating, is that it's to give you time to figure out who that person really is. I think that you should date at least as long, up to the point where something bad has happened, to see how they really are. It's easy to be nice and a good person when everything is sunshine and rainbows. It's like, I don't give a damn about that. I want to know, how are you whenever things go bad? I want to know, are you still going to be there whenever things aren't sunshine and rainbows? Are you going to be someone that I'm going to be able to count on and depend on, that the kids will also be able to count on and depend on? The world is tough. And to think that I'm just going to be good and healthy all the time is ridiculous. I've been sick. I haven't been to the hospital for anything, I don't think. Have I? No, I mean, checkups. I probably need to do more of those. I've had a checkup once, I think, and then I had checkups whenever I was in the Army. And they say you should do that more as you get older. I've thought about it here recently, but haven't gotten around to it. And then you see this fake stuff here. This is just a quick little search of noble family crest. If you've got anything like this in your family, it's a lie. These are just companies that just do this. They're all generic. They all look the same. Well, not all of these, but a lot of them. All these right here, cosplay, Scottish Swish, patch, is just generic. All these right here are pretty generic. They're just something that some company just kind of they probably have an automatic online noble family crest generator. I kind of go back and forth with, do I want to do something along these lines, or would I like to update it? It's like Star Wars. They did that Star Wars movie back in the 70s, and then they did that The Force Awakens, which was it was Star Wars all over again. It was absolutely lazy and redundant, and just, man, it put me to sleep. It was like, this is so stupid. These are supposed to be the best and the brightest who are supposed to be writing this, and it was just whatever. That means more work, though. And since no one's ever done this, I think I might kind of stay traditional with some of this stuff, I guess. Because to say that I can do everything is just folly. So I guess do it original historical kind of thing, and then let future generations kind of change. The reason why I'm doing this is also Dune is coming out with a new movie. Dune's going to be a thing. Again, they had the movie back in the 70s or the 80s. Then they had a mini series. I think they tried to do a movie again before. And now they're doing like a big budget movie. I mean, huge. Here is the cast. I do not know who Paul Atreides is or Lady Jessica. Duke Leto Atreides, that's Poe Dameron from Star Wars. And then we have Josh Brolin, who's going to play Gurney Halleck. So he was the big brother in Goonies, and he also played Thanos in the Marvel movies. Don't know. Zenda, warrior princess here. I only know her from, she's been in those Spider-Man movies. Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. That's the Thor movies. He's the old guy. He runs around naked for a little while at Stonehenge or something like that. From what I've seen from the trailers, he's going to be a good Vladimir Harkonnen. Dave Bista, he's that Drac on Guardians of the Galaxy. Steven Henderson, I might know him from something, but I can't place him. David, I've seen David in something too, but I can't place him either. But I have seen him in something. Jason Momoa, Aquaman. Javier Bardem, I think that's French. He played in Old Country with No Country for Old Men. He was the villain in that one, going around killing everybody. And I'm not familiar with any of these other people. But there was a trailer that I saw called Royal Houses, and it looks like they just come out with an extended version of this like a couple of days ago. And they have several houses in Dune. Let's see here. Where did I put it? Here we go. A house in the time of the Imperium was a seat of power, sometimes to a single world or several. They formed the Landestar, I think that's how you say that. And they have major and minor houses. These are all the known major houses. The ones that we'll see in the movie is going to be House Atreides, House Corran, which is the Emperor's, and House Harkonnen. I don't think any of the others. Some of these are based off of, there was a video game for a while, and then the TV series, and then there's a bunch of books, and then they have some minor houses right here. So as you can see, they have quite a few. A little bit about it is that everyone comes from Earth, then robots got real smart, killed everybody, Terminator stuff. They have House Harkonnen, this is their flag, and then they've got some colors. I've never thought about colors. I have, but it's like that's kind of its own can of worms. Whenever I was in the Army, I was a 19th Delta Cavalry Scout, and you would sing cadences about it. One of them was the Army colors, the colors are gold, to show the world that we are bold. Your left, right, left. So a lot of the colors that you see in the government, they actually have some kind of definition to them, a meaning. I don't know, I doubt they did anything like this, but they do have their colors. I don't know if you can find that anywhere. I just kind of vaguely looked for this stuff. been they've been the ruling body. They've had the emperor of the known universe forever because they're the ones that led the rebellion against the machines and won. House Harkonnen was actually one that fled, and House Atreides stood by. And I didn't read up on it. I don't know if they did anything particularly well, but they had this with a lot of things. House of M. This is comic books. This is Magneto. House of Magnus. I think that's what that stood for, which is Magneto's, I think, real name. And it's where Wanda kind of goes crazy. So she redoes the entire world, where she gets rid of a lot of mutants besides her family or something along those lines. I never read it, but I know a little bit of Wind and Ice, or Ice and Fire, something like Game of Thrones. And they have a lot. I didn't know that they had this many. I've never read the books. I haven't watched the TV series. Houses of the Crownlands, which is Baratheon of King's Landing. I think that's how you say that. And you can see it over here. And then at the end, A Dance with Dragons. I guess perhaps the book, A Dance with Dragons, the last book. Houses of the North. And so then you have Stark. I have heard Stark, House of Stark. And then noble houses: Ashwood, Bolton, Condon, Dustin, Locke, Long, masterly houses, mountain clans, and some more clans, exiled houses, extinct houses. Oh, I didn't read all that. And then they've got the flags over here, or their crests or whatever. Houses of the Iron Islands, Greyjoy, Lannister. I heard of the Lannisters. Tyrell. I don't know. And then some unknowns. Then over here, Harry Potter. What do we have here? House of Black. Well, what are those two? There were brothers that are in the movies. Well, one brother that's Sirius, and then he had a brother, right? And then you have, purebloods, but they don't all have like official family names. The only three that I could find was the House of Black, the Lestrange family right here, and they have some members. Status unknown, loyalty to the Death Eaters. Yeah. Malfoy, that's his coat of arms right here. And then you have the four houses of Hogwarts. Hogwarts has its own kind of crest thing, and it's a combination of the four. And the four are Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. I think everybody's kind of heard of these kind of recently, and they're their crests right there. And then with Star Wars, they have Elder Houses, collected heraldry royal houses of the galaxy. They include the House of Organa and Lady Carice Cinderin family. I don't know that, but this is a Leia Organa and her parents, and her dad Bell Organa was in the Prelude series, the first 3 episodes that they kind of went back and redid. And Mandalorian, they have the same kind of thing. And I've seen these. I watched the Clone Wars. It was a cartoon series that they had, which was actually surprisingly good. House Crazing or something. House Vistal. House Cast. And whenever I was watching the series, they several episodes with the Mandalorian homeworld and their clans and all that, and they mentioned those. Oh yeah, the Duchess Satine, which was Obi-Wan's kind of like unofficial girlfriend. And then the Dune movie. I like these things that are worldwide global phenomenons that happen, such as religion. All around the world, there's no place that was ever atheists in nature. No place. Every single place. Indians, Native Americans, Europeans, Asians, whatever, they all have some kind of religion. There's also nowhere in the world where you can go and just steal from people or walk outside and just start killing or raping. They all have family units too. Every last one of them. They all, even though before they even knew about the rest of the world and they talked to each other, they all had mothers, fathers, and children. And to just say that we're just going to get rid of it just because I feel that way, that's weak. You need to give me something to get rid of it. And if you're going to get rid of it, I tell you what, that argument is going to have to be earth-shattering strong to get rid of something that's been around since forever, as far as we know, and all around the world. It's like it needs to be earth-shattering as to why that you need to get rid of it. And I've never heard anything remotely close to that at all. And so I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater at all, as Jordan Peterson likes to say. So I'm going to take it the other way, and that is I want to prop it up and I want to do even more. Even though my childhood was trash, it wasn't all horrible to say that it was good enough, and there were some good moments that I can see the potential of what a good, strong, unified family looks like. And that whenever you come up with things like custom and cultures and tradition, that makes it easier for people to know what's expected of them, what they need to do to attain whatever it is that they want to do. You just can't keep randomly making things up. I think of those gender pronouns nonsense. It's like, no, there's not two genders. You know why? Because there's only two genitalia. And there are no such thing as transgendered people. The trans men and trans women, that's a lie. You know why? Because there's nothing that you can do to change your X and Y chromosomes at all. Chromosomes are kind of the basic building blocks in a way of what men and women are. So females, they have two X chromosomes, and males have an X and a Y. It's the guys that have one of each. How do you change those? Well, what surgery do you do to change your chromosomes? You can't. Just like there's no surgery that you can do to change your genitalia. There's body mutilation. I mean, if you're a guy and you want to cut it off, you can. But you can't put in a woman's uterus and her ovaries. That's literally impossible. There's no way to do that. We are completely clueless how to do that. That's why there is no man who's pregnant. And there is no woman who can go and get another woman pregnant. There are no women out there that have testicles and a penis. It's just a lie. 100%. There's a bunch of fake surgery stuff for all kinds of stuff, like men and women who go out and they get breast implants. It's like it's fake. It's silicone. It's rubber. It's plastic. It's whatever the hell it is that they make those things out of today. I don't know. I don't care. Men are naturally, on average, taller. They have more muscle mass. Their bone structure is different. Just, for example, the way that a socket sits into the hinge there for men to be able to use their arms differently than what women do. Women have higher endurance. so they can go longer and further than what men can. Women have the ability, they see colors brighter than what men do. I'm not going to lie with any of this stuff, and I'm not going to respect anybody who lies for this stuff. My respect is not going to be given just because. I've been watching some videos about kind of guys who are getting red pilled kind of videos, and he plays, one of them that I've been kind of interested in plays these TikTok videos, and then he goes on to Reddit and talks about how these women just talk about this underlying entitlement on how I need to be respected and you're all worth it and you're just great and fantastic. And it's like, no, you're not. And you don't deserve my respect just for being. He says constantly, do not listen to what these women have to say. And he clarifies too, and that goes for anybody really. Don't listen to what anybody has to say. See what it is that they do. What are their actions say about them? Because that's going to be a whole different can of worms for some people. It's like, I completely know about that. My father is exactly like that. He will come up and say all these little niceties and be real pleasant to your face, and he will act like complete trash. He says those things to get what he wants and then screw everything else. It's like, no, you can go screw yourself. And I don't want this hatred and anger for anyone else in my family. I'm looking at this kind of a way of, I see the school system not being what it should, which is the school system should be setting up children to be able to be productive adults, so that whenever you're older and you're done, you should be able to go out and do what you want. So this means what? Well, yeah, you need to learn how to read and write. You need to know the language of your country, in this case, English. You need to know math. You need to know some science, some history, some biology, chemistry, whatever. STEM. STEM stands for science, technologies, engineering, and mathematics. And you need to know about your culture, so you know how the economic system works. So you can do things like go out and get a small business loan, or for a house, or for student loans, whatever it is that you need to know how to do those things. And if you don't, well, how's that supposed to happen? You know, we have school because you can't go out there and learn by magic. There's no waving of a magic wand and you just know all this stuff. Somebody else figured it out, and now it's being taught to you. Because if you had to figure all of this out on your own, we wouldn't be anywhere. You know, so in a way you could look at it kind of like as cheating. Oh, well, we've cheated. It's like, no, you do not have to go out and just learn addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, decimal points, percentages. No, we're going to teach it to you. School doesn't cover everything. This is one of the things that religion does for you, is that's a good place to go for whatever faith it is that you believe in, to go out and to have a set of morals and values, to kind of do something a little bit more. And this is something that I want to do with this noble house. This is still some things that are very important that I think people should know, that I want people in my family to know. If you want to join along with me in creating your own, that's fine. Or if you want to, you can cherry pick anything that I'm doing too. I don't care. Feel free to knock yourself out with it, or from scratch. Some of the things that I have is, I have these keys. And keys, they have teeth to them. This is a key, and these little points are the teeth. So one of the keys represents a person's body. I'm calling it a skeleton key. Skeleton, bones. You only get one body from which we experience everything, our five senses: sight, sound, smell, touch, taste. Some of those teeth, 3 of them: diet, exercise, health. I might have more, yeah, because this is an older one right here. It's like I have mental health on it as well. Faith it's just going to have a wing to it. There's no teeth to it. This is to help to cope with death, to have some hope, some peace kind of a way. But it's to fill those gaps in right there. That, for example, this isn't anything that you learn at school. Did you learn anything about coping with death? I didn't. And should they? No. The school is a government institution that should be helping you with society. What's the deal with death? It's like, is there a higher power, or perhaps there's nothing? So who has it right? Believers or non-believers? Well, we don't know. So you have to kind of figure that out first. Is, well, are you going to believe in something or not? And then you can take a look at how you want to deal with death. Another key that I have is knowledge. It's kind of hard to do something if you're just dumb as a box of rocks there. It would be like a book representing wisdom. And so it's the key of knowledge. Babies, they don't know anything. You need to be able to fill your brain up with all this stuff. Whenever you think of people who are of noble houses, you think of people who are highly educated. And it's like, well, yeah, how are you going to accomplish anything if you're stupid? So these are learned things, hobbies, recreational, not just STEM stuff. This is also being knowledgeable about politics, social intelligence, understanding the culture, being able to accomplish goals. Communication too. I mean, it doesn't matter if you know anything in the world if you can't communicate those things. So being able to debate, just simple conversations, negotiation. Another key is knowing yourself. How are you, in order to have a family, how are you going to get engaged in someone in a deep, serious, committed relationship if you don't even know who you are? So this key would look like a mirror in one end, and then the shaft to it, and then the teeth at the end. So what is your purpose? What are your values that you have? Your image and your environment. So how do you groom yourself? What are your manners? And it's also things like braces to fix your teeth. What do you wear? Your haircut? All that kind of stuff. Your environment. What are you surrounding yourself? Get things organized so that you can find things. That definitely has helped me out. Being somewhat clean. You definitely don't want bad odors and to worry about your health and other people's health. Needs. An example of this is that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's that little triangle, and at the bottom, kind of the foundation of it all is like things like food, clothing, and shelter. And then, what are your financial needs, and then your variable ones. Financial needs, because yes, we do live in a world where we do have money and currency so that we can do those things. So what are your basic financial needs and why? And just recognizing that, so then that way you don't become kind of overfilled with greed, which I see a lot with people being over materialistic relationships, personal relationships, your spouse, children, close friends, extended family, and others, which is kind of everyone else who doesn't fit in this category. And then family values. I was thinking about this last night whenever I was going on my run. I think right here I had these just in alphabetical order, and I want to change this. I think, yes, number one, I want to keep that as change. I was like, what's the most important one? Change. Why? Let's take the caps off. Because time changes everything. In time, everything grows old, dies, or is destroyed. In some manner. This is everything. Nothing is going to last forever. Nothing. I watched these videos about the universe, and at some point, in some time, billions of years into the future, we have a black hole in the center of our galaxy. And every single planet and star that's close enough to it will get sucked into it, and the rest of them that are on the outer edges are going to get thrown out into space. Every single star or sun out there is going to expend all of its fuel, and they'll all extinguish themselves at some point in time. So nothing is just going to last forever. Everything requires maintenance and updating. Our bodies change, our ideas change, our technology changes. So I think that's number one that I wanted to do. I want to keep that as number one. I don't want it to stay. So with change, I'm going to change this up over here so y'all can see this a little bit better here. So now that I'm kind of done with the and I was thinking number two is either going to have to be courage or truth. Or, let me pause for a moment. Alright, so moving on. Change, because time changes everything. In time, everything grows old, it dies, or is destroyed in some manner. I had that down for A. B, whenever I have B down, that's kind of like the enemy, the foe, the negative. It's the kind of the opposite, the thing that you want to avoid. So the opposite of change right now, until I find something better, it's going to be complacency. And that is just doing things just over and over and over just because. That's not to say that everything has to change. But if you see an opportunity to change for the better, then it might be something to look into. It depends. You can't do everything all the time. Whenever I look into people who do exercising on a regular basis, one of the things that they do is they try new workout programs. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of sports and physical activities that you can go out there and do. Why stick to just one? You know what, if you're an athlete who's just competing, it's like, yeah, go ahead and do just one. At least, especially, obviously, while you are competing. But even with that, it's like they do quite a few things. Like they'll do their thing and yoga and stretching, and they'll do some endurance and some lifting to help them at whatever athletic sport it is that they're competing in. They don't do just one thing. And also, from my understanding as of this moment, is that if you continuously do the same thing, that'll actually lead to injuries that you do want to change it up. Change then also requires courage. It's scary doing something new. It's scary to do a new job. It's scary to go out there and to date and have to start all over in a relationship. It's scary to move. So you do need courage. The opposite of courage would be fear. Also recklessness. I think with a lot of these, there should be kind of these opposite ends. There's this Aristotle's golden mean, and that's, you kind of have this thing, that this value that if it's taken to either extreme, you have these bad things. So with change, yeah, if you were changing everything all the time, that would not be good. Because you need to change, and you need to understand it to see where you can take that change any further. You can think of it like a job that you start, whether if you're starting a new business or if you're working for a company, you start at the bottom, and as you learn more, you do more, and you continue to grow. It's not like you just come on out and you're just at the top and you know everything. You have to learn how to add before you can multiply. So with courage, if you do nothing, whenever you see like a woman getting robbed, someone's trying to steal her purse, and you do absolutely nothing, that's fear. Courage is if you see this, but you go up and you help her, okay, well, that's courage. Recklessness would be, you see it, but the person is twice your size, has a gun, and then you still go up and you get involved, and then you end up getting shot. The more appropriate thing in today's age would be a good witness. Take your cell phone out, call the police, use your camera option and record what's going on. So being fearful is doing absolutely nothing. Recklessness is doing too much to the point where it does harm instead of good. It's like, well, you intervened with a robbery, but you ended up getting shot, perhaps killed. It's like, what good did that do? Didn't do any good. Have to be smart about it. So how do we want to change? How do we want to apply our courage to doing this? Well, we want to improve. We want to have things be better. We just don't want to, we don't want, let me think about this. I might have meaningless in the moment area. All right, so we want to improve. We want to make things better, or I want to. So I don't want to give in to my vices. I don't want to be weak about it or negative. I want the improvement to be positive, good. I know that's subjective. So what would be good, positive improvements? Well, what's the truth? What does the empirical evidence say? What do facts say? I don't want to make improvements based off of emotional responses. I don't want it to be meaningless, and I don't want it to be filled with a bunch of vanity, virtue signaling. I want it to be impactful. Yeah. I want these obviously to play off of each other. This doesn't mean that everything needs to be changed either. Does it? Maybe it does. That doesn't mean that everything needs to be changed right here, right now. For one, you just can't do it, even if it was possible, but it's not possible because some of these things were kind of at our limit. And it would take some better understanding, some enlightenment, or some technology or something to help us break that barrier to making things even better. And that stuff just doesn't fall out of the sky. I don't want to improve my vices. Good, positive, strong. It's like if these are really, did I take that off? I think I did. Whatever. So how do you need to know the truth of things? I think devil's advocate would come in next. I'm just, yep. And the opposite of devil's advocate would be closed-minded. Narrow view. That's another synonym. Set in your ways. More complacency. Arrogant. So devil's advocate, closed-minded, narrow view, arrogant. And I think that's kind of good enough. And then some personal things is forgiveness, individuality, magnanimity, and responsibility. I think the first one in that would be individuality. Let's change that. Understanding that everyone is individual. So that means that they're going to do things that you don't like. You have to learn how to forgive. More for your sake than anything else. That's because you can't change other people. Just because you forgive somebody, it's like, I've forgiven my father, but that doesn't do a damn thing for him. Because he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. So fuck that son of a bitch. Piece of shit. And so, just because I've forgiven him, it doesn't change him. He still has the same values and morals and all that kind of crap, which are complete, just fuck him. So just because I've done that, that did nothing for him. But I do that for myself to alleviate my hatred, my anger, and to keep me focused on what it is that I want to do out of life. And it's helped a lot. And one of the things to kind of help keep that under control is also magnanimity. Is to not let, to try to realize, oh, what is that? It's from a song, As I Lay Dying, Confined, I think is the name of the song. It's part of the chorus. How quickly I forget that this is meaningless. That's kind of what magnanimity is to not be troubled with petty things, stupid little things. And it's like, well, what really is petty? And if you get to thinking about it, if you really get to thinking about it, it's like there's a lot of things that are just petty, meaningless little things that you're letting get to you. And it's just like, why? There's a lot of them. There's a lot. And also to go with individuality with all this stuff is responsibility. You know what? I think I want to put that maybe there. Because whenever you realize that everyone's individuals, then you understand responsibility. That you only have a responsibility for yourself, and so your forgiveness is only something that you do for yourself, because it's stupid to say that you have any control over anybody in such a way. Yeah, that's right. You know, if they're looking to make things better, then they should change. One of the problems that people think is that they can get away with acting like a child, and that one of those things is by saying, I'm sorry. It's like children say they're sorry because they're stupid and they don't know very much and they can't do very much. But as an adult, it's like, yeah, you can take your sorry and you can go shove it up your ass. If you're really sorry, then you need to make a change. And depending on what it is, it might need to be, yeah, you need to change a lot. Or it might be very small, such as, you know what, if that's what you want to do, you can go ahead and do it, but don't do that around me. Or don't do that in these situations. So it's like if you want to lie, for example, and say that there's all these different genders or whatever. No, really, I don't respect that, but it doesn't hurt me either. So it's like, if that's what you want to do, go ahead. You can go do that on your own time. Just, you can leave me out of it. You know, maybe there's something else that you've got going on that I like. It's like, yeah, I want to be involved with. You know, maybe we can do whatever together. It's like that's fine. This whole gender pronoun thing it's a thing that, if you look at it, it's a petty little thing. It's nothing that I'm going to get too upset about. I will be upset, though, if you're just going to flat out lie about it and say it's real. If you can't recognize that what you're saying is just absolutely 100% false, it's like, I don't know, because then that's going to make me question everything else about you. It's like, well, if you're so dumb that you don't understand that I will never have a uterus and I will never have ovaries and be pregnant, then what other problems do you have? It's like, hell no. No. Thankfulness. So part of the problem with this is that, well, how much further can you go with this? It's like, yes, to be thankful of what you have. And with your life, to be grateful. Delayed gratification. That if you put in the work now, that it'll pay off in spades later down the road. Like working out. Yes, if you work out and you keep with it, you can end up having a really fantastic body, which means you can do a lot, go out there and really engage more with the world and doing all these other things with your life that you want to do, besides sitting on the couch eating bonbons while watching some meaningless show. It's going to take time, but if you just shut up and you just do it, which I'm going to do, I've been doing it. I've been gaining weight here lately. I got up to about 190 for a little while. I'm almost back down into the 170s. I don't want to get too much lighter. I think I want to be around 175. I would prefer to be slim and toned instead of big and bulky. Like that Ronnie Coleman, who just was this power lifter for a long time. His vertebrae is like fused. He's in a wheelchair and has crutches and stuff. He was so strong. Let's pull him up right now. So there he is, Ronnie Coleman is an American retired professional bodybuilder, the winner of Mr. Olympic title for 8 years in a row. Holy crap! 8 years and in a row? Ooh. How old is he now? 57. But he kept doing it, and he's had problems. Was this 2018? Ronnie Coleman, his health, I don't know if I'll be able to walk. And he's still pretty jacked up right there. Good night. I don't know when that was, but... So there he is. I'm sorry. Move this out of the way. So there he is, all jacked up. I'm going on this way. So there he is, all big and buff, and there he is on his crutches right there. Looks like he's still pretty jacked right there. I mean, his veins are just really... And there he is with the walker and stuff. So I don't know how bad he is exactly today. Because this article here is in 2018. Numerous back surgeries, so... All that heavy lifting takes a toll on the body, as Coleman later found out. Since his Mr. Olympic reign came to an end in 2006, he had multiple surgeries, including 3 back surgeries in 2018 alone. Oh my goodness. 3 just in 2018 alone, because, yeah, I saw him on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he was just not doing well with any of that, and so I don't want that at all. And then I've talked about a lot of this before, but with Dune coming out, I want to, hopefully, I'm hoping that the movie does really well and people like it a lot, and that this will stir some interest in this as I'm doing this. Part of having a noble family is, well, having a creed, heirlooms, traditions, what's your family tree. That's just to give you an example, and I'd like to just kind of blow it up as much as I can. If there's anything that you're interested in, that perhaps this is something that you would like to do, that this is going to be becoming a part of a series. So I just got a new microphone here to help with the sound. I had like a little cheap $20 one, but I have like a legit microphone now. I don't know if you can tell. I played with it a lot, but it was a massive upgrade. From this one, which this was just like 20, 30 bucks, something like this. I spent some money on this. I want to up my game with all of this. I'm going to be doing 2 videos. One where it's this focused improvement, which is going to be part of creating this noble house family kind of thing. One of the things that we did whenever I was younger was that for Christmas, whenever I was young, we built homemade Christmas ornaments, and we had those things forever. Part of that, though, was because we were just too poor to be able to go out and to buy Christmas ornaments. A little later in life, though, we were able to start to buy some, and so I think it's going to be somewhere along the lines of I want to be able to build a lot of them, make them, because I want a house filled with memories and keepsakes. And I don't want to go out and just buy a whole lot. So here's a real world example. For a while, there were some girls who would come over and visit. They were my friends' kids. And one of the things that we did for Halloween was that you can buy these hardcover books that are just trash, that whoever wrote them, nobody bought them, and they get passed around at bookstores, and you can buy one for like $0.25. It's just nothing. And then this, it's got some wings and then a little skelly kind of person on it. You can buy it at the dollar store for like $1. Then you can hot glue it on. And then you can take paper towel. You can wet it down, you can put some glue on it, and then you can cover it all up. Then you can paint it black, and then whatever else you want for the others. And this is one of the books that one of the girls did here. And then it's got like, what she call this? Venomous potions is one she. Potions of spiders, snakes, and ants, and flies. Very venomous and scary insects. Something along those lines. Anyways, think Harry Potter and his school books. If you wanted to take it further, if they were older, you can go to a craft store like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or whatever, and you could make your own book. To get the stuff to do it is not very much, but as you can see, this is like a real book. You could also just take paper and you could rip some of these pages out and put in, you could either put in more pages or maybe just paste over them. The only thing that you need to be aware of is that whenever you get paper wet, it warps. But this is what I want. I want family memories. So whenever we have Halloween, I want stuff like this up. Because it's going to represent stories. This is something that you can't buy. This is something that it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a bunch of good memories for everyone. I like those Christmas ornaments. They represent a point in time that you can't go back. Represents something that was actually one of the few good things that went on, and it's like, I want more of it. And then practically, I mean, you're talking to your kids, they're developing their skills, they're being creative. Yeah, I mean, just, yeah. So these leftists, you know, who want to destroy the nuclear family, they can all just rot as far as I care. I'm doing the opposite. I'm tired of also hearing from the right and people who oppose them and trying to argue with them. It's like, they didn't change your mind. You're not going to change theirs. So how about you grow up and you just do something about it? So do this with me. And you can start off with this. You can start off with, what are the things that you think are kind of the basics that your family should know and why? Don't just list this stuff. We need to be able to define this stuff in some way. There needs to be a definition to them. So, also, I do believe in God to an extent. I also have this sword stuff right here. One is to have hope, one faith, one love. It's double-edged. The first edge is about you, that you need to study, and then you need to take and meditate on what you studied, and then you need to act out. And Jesus died on the cross, so you mourn. You mourn his death, but you rejoice because the Spirit fills you, and God commands that you forgive. And this is what you do with others. You need to be able to mourn with others. There's a lot of bad that happens, but you also need to be able to rejoice and to forgive others. So, calling it, I don't know if I'm going to call it swords of the Holy Trinity or just Trinity. I don't know yet. All this is just kind of up there. And then the seal of George II of Great Britain. It's because right here I'm Welsh. Jones is a slave name. Welsh, they speak some weird language. And whenever the British conquered them, they said, you're going to speak English, and they're going to say, you're Jones, you're Smith, you're Williams. You're Jones, you're Smith, you're Williams. And that's what they later did in America with the black slave trade. And also in Britain, they had the black slave trade going on over there too, and they did the same thing. It all came from Britain with all that stuff. And then the Great Seal of the United States, because yes, I live in America, and then I'm going to create the seal of the Noble House Jones. So you can think of it like that would also be something that you would use as a signet ring. Hold on. And this is what his ring looked like in the movie. I don't know what his looks like in the new movie, but this is the old movie back in the 70s or 80s or whatever. The one that they have in the movie is actually pretty large because he does use it. Going on, it's gonna lag forever, so. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing this now. This at least Monday through Friday, I'm going to be doing 2 videos. One is going to be this, and then the second one is going to be what I've been doing most of. I was doing several videos there at the very first, and I realized this is not going to get me what I want. It's kind of along the same lines, but it's a lot of work. I mean, just this kind of introductory one here is like an hour, and it's like YouTube promotes, like, from my understanding, 10-minute videos. But you know what? I can watch like those Joe Rogan ones, and there's a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours long. So, anyways, yeah, if you want to do something better and you're tired of the people around you constantly failing you in all these different ways, you want to improve yourself in any way, which whenever I hear people talking about improvement, they're usually just talking about improving their health. It's like, well, are you improving this? I see all of these children, they're in adult bodies, but they have the attitude of a child. It's like, you didn't improve this. You didn't grow up. You're not any more responsible. And one of the things that I've been watching with this, girls who they want to claim this feminist crap of like, well, I'm a strong, independent woman, but then whenever they get into a relationship with guys, they want the guy to be traditional, and they don't want to contribute anything. They're really disrespectful to guys, you know. And this isn't all girls, of course. It seems like it's also more predominant with younger girls. It's like, no, you're not going to have your cake and eat it too. It's like that's not the way that life works. And that girls just have this entitlement that you just need to respect me and I can do no wrong. And they complain constantly about guys, and it's never about how they look at themselves. It's like, oh, this guy was bad, and making excuses for kind of getting with these bad characters. And it's like, I don't feel sorry for you at all. It's like, you did all that, man. Just, yeah, there's a cliff, go take a jump. I got nothing for it. I don't understand. I don't understand how we as good people have let things get worse. Some of it is that the state has, I think, enabled women to raise children by themselves. And women will always talk about, well, I tried so hard and I did all this. It's like, I don't give a damn about you. I care about those kids. Those kids had no say in it whatsoever. And because of your shenanigans, you and this guy, you have screwed these kids over. It's like, I don't give a damn how many jobs that you worked. I don't care about the house. It's hard raising a child, even whenever you have 2 parents around and you're trying to do it yourself. It's like, it takes a village to raise a child. You know what? Because life is freaking complicated. And that you're going to be able to get everything. It's like, no. It's why you need your extended family and good friends, everybody that you can get involved to help raise your child. Absolutely. And this isolationism that we have today with COVID and with video games and all this entertainment, that's not good. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make something good out of this. So join me. Give the video a like. Give it a thumbs up. That'll help out a lot. See you again later. Thanks a lot.